Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Flying with Mike. We are here in Nadi International in the Fiji Islands. Hope you all can join us. We're getting ready to fly over to Pago. Pago, a simple 2.5-hour run. So come on, let's go flying with Mike. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to Flying with Mike. We are live here in the Fiji Islands, getting ready to island hop over to Pago Pago. It's part of the American Samoas. It's also a big stopping off point between Hawaii and either Australia or New Zealand for Operation Deep Freeze, as well as many airline flights going between the two. There are non-stops, but some of them they drop down to the smaller planes so they can make the range. All right, but we're sitting here in Gate 8 getting ready to fire up. And what we need to get into right now so we can get this on its way is the pre-brief. So let's pre-brief the flight here real quick and then head our way on to Pago Pago. So let's swing in some toolkit here. And let's see. So today we're going to start on the pretty much the default briefing here, dispatch brief. Uh, Let me get the other side set up here. There we go. Okay, so Nadia, or Fiji Islands, however you want to say it, it's NADI International, and if I'm not spelling it or saying it right, I apologize. Hello, LUQ5 or SK. Welcome aboard. We're 59 feet above sea level. Runway 20 is what we think we're going to take out of here. Winds are kind of favoring that. It's a 10,000 foot runway, so we don't have any problems there on a heading of 205. Weather here in the Fiji Islands, 110 at 3, so they are shifty a little bit. They were, when I pre-planned, at about, where's my little cheat sheet? They were 160 at 3, so you can see they're kind of moving, but we'll still use 20 for the departure. Lost my place here. Okay, so as you can see, it's 110 at 3, a few clouds at 3,000, and temperature 23 out there degrees Celsius, and the altimeter 1009. There is no significant weather. So, and just a sneak peek into what we have waiting for us up at Pago, as of 12:50, which was, wow, about 3 hours ago. They're variables still. They too are, for the most part, not saying, they aren't saying the word no significant, but in their TAF, they should have had some thunderstorms by now, so who knows? We'll see what we run into. But right now, we'll plan runway 5, and across the top here, you see the flight plan. So over on the other side of the page, we are flying the 737-800. It is for Sun Country. It is like a charter flight, so that's why I chose the airline. Plus, I've been seeing them a lot at Mid-America here lately, so I thought, what the heck? Air distance for the run is 735 nautical miles. And the cost index is 85 for this. Now, the cost index basically takes in your speed performance you want, your fuel performance. The lower the number, I believe it's the better fuel you sip, the higher, the more fuel you sip. So it depends what kind of efficiency you want. If I got it wrong, flip it. The average wind is 145 degrees at 21, so we should have somewhat of a tailwind on this. And fuel, we plan to load up. We'll get into the loadout here right now. Let's go ahead and do it. Payload of 36,100 pounds. We have 179 people and about 300 pounds of cargo to take with us. So that'll give us, they're going to load us up with 19,891 pounds of fuel. So overall, our weights for today, zero fuel weight wise, will be 131,143. Estimating a takeoff weight of 150, 534 on the pounds, and estimating the landing weight at 139, all well within limits. So we're doing good there. We're scheduled for 15:55Z out of here. So with that, let's press on. Couple more things. Our alternate is NSFA. It is one of the Samoas. It's only about 135 miles away. There's our route for it. Our times, again, estimating 2 hours, 15 minutes fly time, but we're scheduled at 2:20. And then here's our weight breakdown. All right, so let's, without further ado, hop back up into the cockpit, and let's, as they say in Top Gun, light the fires and kick the tires. Or actually, it's kick the tires and light the fires. Let's kind of do it the right way, because kicking the tires with the fires lit could singe that real nice hairdo that Tom Cruise had. All right, so back in the cockpit we are here. Just getting set up for what we will need here in a few. We're going to get into the pre-flight preliminary checks to make sure the bird's ready to go. All right, so for that we go up to the top, make sure the battery switch is on. I'm on the wrong switch, there it is. The standby power switch is on and guarded. Ground power is selected on our volts meter, and we have our ground power established. Okay, cabin and utility on, IFE on, emergency lights armed and the guard is down, and exterior lights, logo, and position lights are on. Anti-collision lights are off. By the way, just so terminology here, the anti-collision lights on a 737 are your red lights, top and bottom of the fuselage. Your strobes are you just move this switch 2 clicks up to we get position, strobe, and steady. And the steady are your red greens on the tips of the wings. Let's see, window heat as required. We have that on. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the pre-flight brief. And what that entails is getting the IRS aligned and going through the flow for your pre-flight brief. So with that, we're up at the very top of the panel. To perform the start of the pre-flight brief, we need to turn our IRS off. There's only 2, left and right. Now, while they're off, I give them about 10 seconds. I'm going to come up here to the IRS display itself and move it to heading status, so I'll see when we bring it to nav on each one how many minutes till it aligns. Always wanted to know that when I was flying with the PMDG. I never knew that trick. So, and also we're going to go ahead, let's go ahead and check our flight recorder. That test is good. Mach airspeed warning. There's test 1, test 2, stall warning test. You may or may not hear that. It's very faint. I'm going to turn mine. Okay, there we go. The passenger oxygen is normal. And I'm just trying to... And our oxygen for the crew is good. EECs, or electronic engine controls, they are on and guarded. Our panel is set. Interphone is off. Dome light is off. Let's click to nav. We're going to see on DC, and then we're going to get a line. The only thing we do not get here, like in the Airbus, is the on bat. So, all right, moving down. Whoop, too far down. There we go. We want to make sure the trim air is on. Fuel pumps are off. And I missed one. Probe heats are off. Anti-ice is off. Electric hydraulic pumps are off. And trim air on. Isolation valves are in auto. And the isolation valve is open. And your recirculators are in auto. And now we'll go ahead and start fueling the plane real quick. We'll get our payload set. So 179 is very simple. All right, so 18 males. We'll go with 15 females and 2 children. And the key is keep it below 36. And I'll do that for every one of these but one. Okay, I did something wrong. Oh, I know what I did. All right, and then we'll just round it out. And that'll put us 179 peeps on board the plane. All right, so payload wise, remember we got to come up to the 36,000, I believe it was 100. Here we go. Oh, I was misreading my numbers again. All right, let's go back to fuel and get that set up here, which we are set to load 19,891. Yep, 19,891. Enter. And okay, so we'll go back and we're going to go ahead and start fueling. And the fuel is going up. Okay, sorry for that, folks. All right, so let's move on here. So we've got the fuel going in. Cruise and landing altitudes. Let's get the seatbelt signs. Well, first thing. All right, we're in auto. Let's get the route in. And it's already caught up to us because we took so long. So make sure our nav dates are good. 25 through 21, we're fine there. Operation and all looks good. Engines not on this page. So we go here, type in NFFN. Okay, today is even, so we'll be on the right side for everything today. NFFN, and dang it. And NSTU for Pago. And MACAIR 0572. And if I haven't said it yet today, we are going to be on POSCON flying out of here. I thought about VATSIM, but by the time I thought about it, I just said, we'll just stick with POSCON. Now, when I finally put in the coordinates of where we were, you noticed all the gauges come up. That completed the alignment process. So moving on here, where are we here? We'll go to the next page. And for our route, we're looking at Lupo, Luplo for the first fix. Okay, we'll just put that under 2 on this line select key. Now, the next one is an airway, so it's G224. Okay, that closes with sets. Now, if we had more airways, we could start lining them up, but I like to still close them, open, close, because sometimes the system will take a different fix. So be careful with that. So SETTS, and then Gruppy, G-R-U-P-Y, G-R-U-P-Y. And folks, that's as simple as our system is. I'm just getting this one over to the same page. We're going to go ahead and activate, execute. I'm going to the progress page, 714 miles. Now, mind you, we don't have the arrival in yet, or I'm sorry, the arrival or the departure. So let me look at our air miles again. 735, but the lowest is 714. So we're within the limits. So we'll come back to the route page. Normally, I would save it at this point. It doesn't work. I don't know why. But anyway, we're going to click departure. We're going to be on runway 20. Delta is our departure to Lupo. Execute. Legs page. Got a vector to VK to Lupo. We'll check all of that with our departure brief, and we'll leave it at that. And okay, so let's come back to the route page. Now that we are aligned, and I think our fuel's loaded. Let me check. Nope, still loading. You could also do this. And the fuel truck's still there, so they're still fueling. And giving you just a quick look here at the island. Here, let's zoom out a little bit. Oh, we lost my plane. The big thing in the departure I'm going to let you know is this range here. Pretty much every takeoff except one, you basically loop back around to the VOR and get going because you got to clear these mountains. So, all right, so we're getting close. Yeah, it's loading up the middle tank right now. And let's see how far off we are. Oh, we're only about 800 pounds, so it won't be too long. So we're going to come back down and continue. We need to get the perf information in here. We're loading up 19.8. Now, folks always like to ask me, why not round up? I round down. Because if the system sees me down, well, that's going to give me 700 extra pounds of fuel that it's going to play with. And it should be done now. It looks like it's stopped. Yeah, it is done. Okay, and again, the truck's gone. So we're good to go now. All right, so our zero fuel weight may or may not match. I think it did. Hang on a second. Been working to get them the same, 31.1. Cool. Reserve for the flight today, we're going to run, I believe it is 6.7. So we'll put that in, 6.7. Cost index. I try with all my 737s just to go with 85. And we're going to 35,000 for our cruise. And we can put in the winds, which we show at 140. Whoops. /21, and I want to make sure. Yep, that's what we want. We'll put that there. Transition level 11,000 feet. So it's already read that in. That's good. Execute. And now you can see we're estimating 8.7 at the destination. All right, so here comes the fun part. Now, SimBrief, which is what Sim Toolkit pulls all of that data from to make all the charts and everything look great, you know, in a great format like that. Well, SimBrief does not do runways performance. So I have Professional Flight Planner, as you all know. I have two programs running here, that one and one called TopCat. And I'm just filling in the data right now. 2927 we don't need 823. So let me just do a quick weather update. And we're going to shoot runway 5. Yeah, that weather hasn't updated yet. I'm going to go to the ACAR system for takeoff data. Now, what's being done here? As you know, most airplanes have a little printer in the plane that lets, they get a printout of what their V speeds are, all the takeoff data that they'll put in. Well, that's what TopCat's doing here when I use the ACARS program. So it is calling with the current weather for us to do a looks like a flaps 1 derated TO2, so that's this one, 35 for our select OAT. And again, what this is doing is just pulling the power back. Instead of going every takeoff at maximum power, it pulls back to try to give some ease, wear and tear on the engine. I mean, it's still at maximum power, but just not 100. It might be like curled back some. Trying to extend the life on these pretty big, expensive products out on the wings. Okay, so we're not running with, we got the air conditioner on, the anti-ice obviously not needed. We are going with a zero tail, so that's good. And if the aircraft performs as Top Cat predicts, we should have about 1,480 feet of runway left when we leave the runway. Now so climb 2, I'm going to go with that. All right, so our CG, we'll click on. Okay, normally we can. All right, let's put in our flaps first. How about we do this first? Winds 110. Still don't know how to put the slope in. Well, let's give it a shot. What the heck? One always, never know. This might be the one that finally works. Slope is 0.13. Oh, I know why I'm always having troubles. Okay, never mind. /205. Okay, engine out will be 1,500. Or I'm sorry, acceleration. And then we go next. Oh, we're not getting a CG. That's not cool. Okay. All right, so 149. We'll go with 150, 150. We'll just okay. Hang on a second. I'm just setting another program up. Save. Okay. Why we're not getting a CG here, I don't know. Did I forget something? All right, so we're going to go with what the aircraft, I think I can get that right off this page. I lied. Hang on a second. Let's go 2-4. All right, there we go. Hopefully I use the right CG. So we'll go with that. Actually, we'll go with 27.4. There we go. That's takeoff. All right. So that was interesting. I don't usually have to put that in. Okay, moving on. FMC is now set. Next item on the checklist as we're going through the pre-flight is to get up to the middle here, set our altimeters, and they are going to, I'm just doing a quick update to make sure, 1009. And that's set. Okay. All right, we're lost here. Hang on. Altimeter. APU bleeds off. Left. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start up the APU. So we'll put the left aft fuel pump on. And then APU to start for 3 seconds. Got the low oil pressure. And it's going to be cycling through. So once it comes on, we'll put it on the gens, and then we can start boarding people, folks. So give it a few seconds here. There it goes. And this is your EGT for the APU. EGT being exhaust gas temperature, turbine temperature on turboprops. And it'll spool up and spool down. I think it's pretty accurate on its time. So we'll turn the no smoking light off again since we're done with the fueling, and it's just about there. Okay, we can turn the APU bleed on. We'll get them on the gens. Move this up to APU, our DC voltmeter. And that, folks, wraps up getting the APU started and the pre-flight. And basically, we need to set our EFIS and MCP here. So, speed 154, so we're going to set it to 164. And I use V2 plus 10, and our V2 we set was 154, as you can see down here. Auto throttle off, cruise 35,000. Okay, runway heading is 205. We'll zero that out. All right, so our minimums. And the nice thing is it sets it on both. Borrow, we'll go to 400. And if need be, adjust as need be. And we are on VOR. Let's turn off TCAS for now. Okay, landing gear levers down, 3 green. Speed brake lever. Here, I'll just kind of tilt us here. Okay, speed brakes are down. Thrust levers closed, reversers down. Engine start levers, they're a little further down. That's these guys, they're in cutoff. Engine parking brake set. Yaw dampers. Okay, now that's back at the top. And they can go to on. Trim air. Okay. So that brings us, folks, to where passengers can now enter the plane. And all we do is click home. We'll do that for a few seconds. While we're doing that, we're just going to go through these and check them off, because there is one thing I want to do here real quick. Okay. And just for fun, we'll sit here, we'll let you look back. There should be people in the seats. And you can see some arms sticking out and all. All right, and something I've added to this, I know it's kind of hard on the eyes, but got some wing views here. So those ought to be fun once we get going here. All right, so we've got our passengers boarded. We're going to start closing some doors here. So let's go home, ground service, doors. I'm waiting to hear for the flight attendant to say, Everyone's on board. There she is. All right, so we got the main door closed. Now, one thing we can do since we're now on the APU is disconnect from ground power. We'll do it by that way. And just to look outside, it is gone. And I'm just making sure all doors and hatches are closed. All right, folks, we are ready to push the plane back. And we're about 4 minutes late. Not bad. Got hung up there with fueling and all, but it's been a while since we've ran this plane, so we go here. I want to get my flight directors on, making sure. Okay, now some of the things skipped. The biggest one that I don't like this checklist not going through is the fire warning checks. Test 1 brings on just that fault. Test 2 lights them up. Then we can check our squibs. And our cargo check. That is the fire check. Now, right before the flight, we got a message from POSCON with our squawk code. It's 3541. We're going to go ahead and run the test, if it will let us. For some reason, it hasn't been lately. Okay, no biggie. All right, so let's move over here and get ready for the pushback. All right, for that, let's get the tug coming.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
Okay, we'll just push to here.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
All right, so we're just waiting on him. While we are, we're going to go ahead, move the chocks, and again, I always check because, man, they are gone. Okay, good. And let's get our announcement.
This is Captain speaking. We're just in the final preparation here for departure from the gate. Maintenance wrapping up one final item that they needed to take care of before we depart. So pretty close to right on schedule today. Should be just a few more minutes. Maintenance will wrap up and hand us our logbook and we'll be on our way. Thanks for your patience.
All right, so for the pushback, System B, electric hydraulic pump on. That's this one. Fuel pumps, all of them on.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Anti-collisions on. We keep the position lights steady. That's all the way down. And then auto throttle, they say to arm, we'll wait. And I do that at the end of the runway. And then we'll push back, engine start. The big thing is we turn our packs off. Once the packs are off, then we can start our engines. We're going to be on the right ignition system today. Odd days I use left, even I use the right. Kind of keeps them in sync.
And bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
So that's how I do the engine start. We're getting ready to right here. Just making sure. Okay, and before we go, let's do a departure brief real quick here. Hopefully it was going to be real quick. All right, so we do that, sign in, and there we go. All right, so we're on the airport. Let me bring SimBrief over here real quick. All right, so what we're going to be doing here to take off on 20, come on, there we go, is push back, take Alpha, and then right off. So it's a short taxi, we'll be airborne. Here's our frequency strips. Departure, Delta departure. Again, we're taking real hard to see here, folks. But basically, we're going to take off, do this hook back into Navokia, and then out to Lupolo. All right, so approach is 119.1 if they come on, 59 degrees for the altitude. Transition 11,000. And procedure-wise on runway 20, maintain runway track to 2,500 feet. Turn right to basically track back to the Navaca NDB, crossing it at 5,000 feet or higher. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. Let's look at our legs page. And okay, and that's our departure brief. Again, hang on a second, slide that out. Okay, so we're back on here, ready to push. And I want to double check my frequencies before we go. We're on 122.95, 122.95, 123.450. That's our en route guard channel we monitor in case the ATCs come up. And for our is 405. Okay, so we got everything set up there. All right, we're going to go ahead. We're going to release that parking brake.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
And what we'll do is let him push us out of the gate area, and then we'll start. So, all right, so pushback has been complete. Engine start checks are as follows to the line. We've selected right side for ignition. We'll start engine 2 first by moving it to ground. Before it gets to 25% N1, we will then turn on the start lever to idle, and it'll take itself up at 50. It'll cut out, and we'll announce all of that. Okay, let's actually do the process now. So again, packs have to be off. Okay, fuel pumps on. We're on the right side. Go to ground. Coming down, and I'm going to zoom in at this point. Okay, here's N2 building up. Why it says N1, I don't never understand. There's 17%, and I'm going to go ahead and slide us up to idle. Fuel flows on, and the EGT is coming up, so we have a light off. Now, at 50 to 52, we're going to see this move over. 56, 56. Starter disconnect is disengaged. And all our valves are up. The engine has spooled. And he's just about done. Let's go ahead and start in on number 1. I always click the...
Oop. Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, we'll get that. And we're spooling up.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
And we'll just kind of watch the numbers here as it builds up. Oh, we still got to move the fuel lever. And we can do that now at any time up to 25. We know we have a light off when the EGT starts building as it is. Fuel will start going up, oil pressure going up, temperatures all looking good. And we'll go ahead and say go away. And at 56, we will see the starter lever move straight up and down. There it went, starter disengaged. All right, folks, and we've got her started up. The only thing I want to do now is click on.
So is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
And as always, thanks for flying with Mike, Mr. Pushback. All right, there goes our pushback tug away. He'll stop over here. What we got to be watching for is that he shows us the pin. And then we can continue on with our checks. Perfect. Thumbs up. Okay. And then they would salute us and away we go. Preferably without the one finger salute. All right, so we are engine gens on, and they are. We can now bring the System A hydraulics on. DC voltmeter can go to Gen 1 or Gen 2. I'll go to Gen 1. I lost my place up here. Oh, there we are. Probe heats on. Anti-ice if needed. Left and right packs to auto. Isolation valve auto. APU bleed off. APU itself off. And folks, that is the engine start procedure. Let's come over here and get that. Oh, we did push back. Okay. Get these all checked off, and then we'll do the taxi check and get going. Because I know y'all want to see Pago. So do I. I'm always kind of curious what sceneries look like. Okay, so before taxi checklist. All right, so generators 1 and 2 are on, probe heats on, wing ice is on, engine ice is on, packs are at auto, isolation valve at auto, APU bleed off. Okay, engine start switch to continuous. So basically we move it 1 notch to the right. Engine start levers are at idle. Ground equipment's clear. We'll set our flap level, do our flight checks, and lower the DU will be lowered, display unit. Okay. So what did all that gibberish mean? Basically, okay, we moved our engine controls to continuous. We need to come down. I go to the middle, click status. A little further down because these are what we're going to be checking. This is your hydraulic quantities, pressure, tires, what your brake temperatures are, and then these are your control surfaces. So we're going to go left, right, make sure it centers each time. Then we're going to move the elevator up, down, and of course I set it backwards, and then to make sure the rudders move. These are critical checks in the real world, folks. Believe it or not, there have been crashes because these weren't performed, and gust locks were still in place. That is usually a bad day if the surfaces will not move. And flaps going to 1. Okay, and we'll see it move up here. It'll turn green. And the lower display unit is now blank. When we get a green, we're ready to go. All right, so here we go, folks. And again, just making sure we're good on our freaks. Okay. And again, it's a short taxi here, folks. Hang on a second. Get that timer going. Usually I try to do that at pushback and forgot. Hang on, I forgot to start my acres program, but it's all set and ready to go. Hang on a second, let me set the parking brake real quick. Okay. And 35,000. All right, so now we're ready to taxi. Sorry for that. Brake check. Okay, flaps are set, taxi lights are on, runway turn-off lights are on. Let's get outside, take a look at the airplane. Now the sun countries we've been seeing at Mid-America Airport where I work are all blue with sun country in white. So kind of like this. They say new, the livery is new, but you know, it looks neat. And guess what, folks? We're already at the runway. All we got to do is make our right-hand turn, or left-hand turn, sorry. And we'll get up here and hold short. Okay, and let's see what checklists we need to run before takeoff. We have engine starts in continuous, reject on the takeoff. Now we'll arm our auto throttle and VNAV RNAV. Position lights will stay as is. Landing lights will extend if we can. No, we can't. Okay. And I don't know what I need to trigger to get these two to show up that extend in the belly. ATC transponder 2 TARA, and the lower display is blank and is. All right, folks, we're ready for takeoff. So what we're going to do here in just a minute, get our lights set, see if that disabled. It did. Oh, hang on a second, something's not okay. Do we have is there a mic switch I need to turn on? Okay, pardon me here for a second, folks. We're not going to be able to taxi just yet. I got to set a key, it looks like. POSCON. There we go. My apologies, folks. I thought I had that set. All right. Nadia, traffic, MACAIR 572, departing runway 20 for Pago Pago. All right, let's head on out to the runway. So I say, where did I go on the map? Okay. All right, just getting some screens set up here. What's going on? All right, folks, sorry for that. Just kind of getting... And while we're getting lined up, I'll let you all know our next flight is Thursday. We'll be back in the United States flying the Flight Factor A320 from Concord, North Carolina for Allegiant Airways Air up to or down to Eglin Air Force Base. It's the Destin, Florida area. All right, so just thought I'd let you know. So y'all, if you want to join along, we'll be on then. All right, so we're on the runway. Just gassing the pilot up a little bit here with some coffee. And we're getting ready to blast off here. So again, takeoff, we got to get our lights on. So see what we got out here. That's what I thought. Oh well. All right, so here we go, folks. Takeoff procedure is pretty simple. Let's get our clock going. We're going to throttle up to 60. Makes it easy because all you got to do is get the needle to line up here. Pretty simple. And then we'll set toga and away we go. Coming up to 60 right now. And we're even toga. $80 knots. Okay, I was a little
80
early.
knots.
80 knots. Okay, we'll start neutralizing the stick.
V1. V2.
V1, rotate. Positive rate.
All right, gear up. Again, we're heading for 2,500 feet.
400.
Gear up.
$1,000.
Okay. All right, there's our acceleration altitude. Flaps 1. See if I can't mute that. There we go. Alright, so we'll quit screwing around here and let's roll it around. We should have been at 2,500 feet into the roll. Okay, after takeoff checklist, 400 feet, we'll begin our flaps retract. That way it'll hold at 240. Okay, so we got that set. Let's come back down here to 1 and go to the legs page. We're going to click VK twice, execute, and come back up and go LNAV. And that's going to get us on our procedure that we need to do to come back over VK. And we're above 5,500 feet, so we got that restriction taken care of. Okay, continuing. Flaps are up. Auto brake is off. Engine starts to auto. Okay, so what? How about we go to off? Landing lights at 10,000 and 11,000 for the... Oh. Alright, so now it's coming around. Alright, so landing lights can go off now.
feet.
Okay. Next up is 11,000. We click standard and away we go, folks. All right. Hope y'all are enjoying the broadcast. If you are, hey, click follow. Love to have you join us. Coming soon. I can announce it now. We will begin flying back up in Alaska. Haven't scheduled the flight yet on the schedule I use because of the way work is right now. But be looking for hopefully once a week at the minimum of a GA flight up in Alaska as we take on the second tour that MACAIR Millennium Aviation Company, that's the airline we're flying under today. They have this tour up in Alaska, 3 parts. Did the first one towards the end of last year, beginning of this year. Took a break because of the winter. Now we're going to pick it up here in April and continue on with part 2. It's about 2,100 miles. And we're going to be visiting airports along the way. So look for that coming in the Caravan or the C90/T44, depending what aircraft we fly. Anyway, we just crossed the transition level, setting those to standard. Let's go ahead and bring on traffic. Terrain on this one, weather on this one. And let's bump up the range to 40 on that one. Yeah, and we'll leave this one. We'll go up to 40 on this one too. All right, so we are now cruising cruising over one of the Fiji Islands. On our way to LU-PLO here on the Delta SID, and 2 hours to go on our flight. So thanks for joining us. Again, if you like us, click follow. We'd sure love for you to follow us on our next adventure. Feel free to fly with us. Again, we're going to be flying in the U.S. from just north of Charlotte down towards the Florida Panhandle in the A320. Allegiant flies these routes all the time. So these are a little bit of unknown airports for airliners to go into, so that's why we're flying them. So, but we hope that you'll join us. So, and for now, I'll just kind of sit here and relax as we continue our climb on up. We got out of there little later than normal, but then, you know, that's the way flying with Mike is. Hang on a second here. I'm going to set our bank angle to 15 to make it a little easier on folks while I set our heading up. And we're headed up to 35,000 feet, folks. So enjoy the ride. And as always, thanks for flying with Mike. We'll kick on some music here for you.
$18,000 feet.
All right, folks, we've reached top of climb. We're in cruise at 35,000 feet. Cruise checklist is pretty simple. When the center fuel pumps are empty, we turn them off. They're down to 10 pounds or 1,000 pounds, sorry. So we've got those shut down. AP and FMC check are good. We're still on 6.235. We'll go ahead and pre-plan by setting these pretty close to at least 50, since we know we're coming in on the 5s. And then, folks, that's all we got for you now. Top of climb. Let's go to a progress page here. We'll put that on cruise, that one on there. And let me see here if I can. Make that a little better for us in the future. So we're looking at 588 miles, about 484 miles to top of climb. Or I'm sorry, top of descent. So we'll be back with you in about a couple of 100 miles here. Winds are truing out at about 156 at 21 instead of what we were forecasted at 140. So little more off to the direct cross, as you can see by the graphic here. But nonetheless, it'll be fine getting us in there. Our RNIP and ANIP, RNIP is request, ANIP is actual, are looking good. So we are on course, and should be there in about, according to the MACAIR ACAR system, about an hour and 15 or so minutes. So, like I said, we'll be planning the descent here shortly, making sure, because I'm sure Pago just wasn't reporting through the night. So we'll see what kind of information we have for the true landing that we'll do there. All right, so let's let the music ring on. Folks, if you like the broadcast so far, please click follow and follow us along. That'll let me know I'm doing a pretty good job here trying to stream a good show for you. Otherwise, it also gives you an email alert the next time we fly. When I click start streaming, you get an email saying Mike Flying with Mike is going between here and here. And you're more than welcome to hop on a plane, join us, and we'll see you then. So for now, let me bring the music back on. And actually, I'm going to try something here. Bear with me here. Stations. I'm going to change it up a little. Let's see. Alright folks, I just thought I'd return. We may be getting some feedback here. So let's just see what's going on. Okay, so it looks like everything's going well. Just checking off my cell phone, which is always good because it's like right next to the computer. But I thought I'd at least see how our stream is sounding. I've been working with some of the sound settings here, hoping they would work. They didn't. In trying to clean this audio up, so we'll get to work on that a little more here. But anyway, in the meantime, we're well, you know, we're 284 miles from top of descent. Let's go ahead and get into the arrival brief. So hang on just a second here. Let me just look one more time. Okay, so all right, so for that we need to bring up Sim Toolkit. Let me do this and bring that over here. All right, so Sim Toolkit here. We're on the new flight plan page that they're testing out. Kind of like, kind of don't. I don't know why I've got these little squares right here. But anyway, it kind of shows you where we are. We're getting to the halfway point. You can see the estimated time arrival of 50 minutes. I also put in the latest METAR, but we'll go ahead and hit it again. Just to refresh, and who knows, maybe it updated again. Get it typed in here right for you. Okay, and as of 16:51, which is coming up on a half hour or so ago, winds are variable, as you can tell, 11-mile visibility. Got some clouds at 2,200 feet and 10,000 feet, so pretty day into there. And we're on American altimeter settings, so that means first step we're going to do here is switch from HEPA over to the inches of mercury. And then we're going to come back down and let's talk about the approach here. Well, maybe. Hang on a second here. Let me get re-signed in. It's been doing this quite often here lately. All right. All right, so while that's coming back on. All right, so there we go. Nav graph is now up for you. So let's take a look at this. Like I said, we're getting in and around the halfway point. So there is no star into Pago. So we're going to go to the ILS runway 5 and we're going to just fly in on that. So Gruppy will be our transition and that'll take us straight down the localizer. Okay, across the top, as you can see, this is effective as of 17 May of 19. It's 11-11 in the Jepson at that time. And the ILS localizer for runway 5. There's your frequencies. We do not have ATC out here in the ocean, so we don't have to worry about the top line, but the second one we do. So what we've got here is the localizer. It's identified as ITUT, TUT, and its frequency is 110.300. approach course is 046. Now by Belluja, which is 7.7 DME from the localizer, we've got to be at 2,300 feet. The decision altitude is 845 feet. And the airport itself is 32 feet above sea level, so is the touchdown. Missed approach, climb to 1,100 feet, then in a right climbing turn, continue to 3,000, out on the TUT VOR 087 radial to Salim, and that's 10 DME, and we hold. And you can see that here in this picture there. It's 3,300 feet around the airport as our MSA, so we can't go below that without expecting to hit something. And transition level here is, I believe, 15,000. We're going to do a quick check. And no, it's 13,000. I always get these two screwed up. Level is departure, altitude is arrival. So 13,000. And I'll show you how to set that up here in the FMC momentarily. Looking at the other information, looks good. All right, again, too grumpy, will come in straight down the ILS. Again, BLUGJA, 7.7 DME, we got to be on the glide slope or at 2,300 feet. So we're either 2,300 feet or descending already on the glide slope. Let me kind of word it that way. And then that'll take us all the way down. The next section shows that we have a simple Malzer approach, multiple approach lighting system with PAPIs on the left-hand side. Here's our, again, missed approach, and TUT is identified 112.5. All right, so what do we need to land here? Well, our decision altitude is at 845 for the full ILS. Mile and 7/8. So that's what we're required to come in on. And if we do need to circle to land, here's the information. I'd have the 2-3 if we needed to, but it looks like we're not. So we're going to be landing runway 5. We'll probably make Charlie. If not, we'll go all the way to the end and back taxi. But Charlie to the ramp. Folks, there's only like a handful of parking spots here, so we should be fine, and it's a 10,000 foot runway, as you can see. So folks, that is the arrival brief. Now let's get over and set up our FMS and radios. All right, so here we are. We're on the progress page at 225 miles out or so. We'll just click departure arrival. Pago, NSTU. Click the arrival key. Again, no stars. However, there is the ILS 5. Sets, it looks like. And of course, now I got to go back and check. Okay, so it is coming off sets, is the initial. So that probably will set us into a discontinuity. Execute, route, legs. Let's see. Oh, it did. Okay, good. We'll see how this translates out. Hang on a second. don't like that it's repeating itself. Okay. Alright. Yeah, it did take us back. Alright, so again, sets Grupp. Okay, Gruppy, they got us at 2,300 feet. Alright, we'll just set that at 3,700 feet. Okay. For our descent in. And that'll set our speeds up according... Ooh, I don't want 145. Not yet. Okay, so that'll set us up there. 210 at Gruppy. We'll be slowing all the way down for the approach. Alright, so as promised, how do we do the transition? Click descent. If you're in a 777, I think the 7.6 and the 7.4, all you have is VNAV here. Cycle through to the descent page. Here all we do is click descent, forecast. We have already flight level 130 located, and that should, folks, translate out. Now I'm going to try something. Always wondered if those worked. We'll find out. They don't. All right, and you can fill in your information here, folks. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so we're 185 miles out. Currently on course, and according to SimBrief, we are now estimating about 38 miles, or 38 miles, 38 minutes to our arrival. A couple of fix ahead of us, Lenint, Big Egg, and then Sets, which is our initial for the arrival to runway 5. All right, folks, we'll sit back, relax, enjoy the music, and should be there, like I said, in about 35-40 minutes. Enjoy. Alright, we just brought the overlay over for Sim Toolkit, so that way you can get an idea where we are, altitude, and all of that good stuff. So let's take a look down here. We are now standing 35 miles away from top of descent. Let's run the descent checklist while we're here. We'll set 3700 for our descent. Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start our descent. Keep an eyeball on it. Oh, is it not going to go? All right, it's not going to want to go. All right, so we've commanded the descent. And we'll set the throttles back so they can run on their own. Okay, we're starting down. Engine start switch to continuous. That's up here on the top again. So we're just going to move them over to continuous. The seatbelt signs go on at 15,000, landing lights at 10,000. There is your descent checklist, folks. We are now inbound Pago. And we stopped our descent again. Doggone it. Thought we did. Okay. Those contrails just didn't look right to me in the back, and she is still not wanting to descend. We'll keep an eyeball on this. Next up in the procedure here is the approach brief, but we got to get through two more checks here. So what I'm going to do is do a quick update on weather. Still 1651. That'll be updating here shortly. It's leveled off again. All right, we're going to force it. Okay, we're going to now need speed brakes. Yeah, we got about 30 miles to make 16 something at around Big Eck. Okay, still showing keep an eyeball on this descent. All right. And the goal, folks, is to keep the triangle like on an ILS glide slope as close to the horizon as possible. The same over here. And that's what we're watching in this managed descent, although they don't call them managed in a Boeing. It's an Airbus term, I think. That's our goal. All right, so we're going to give it, like I said, to the top of the hour for the next METAR and see if it comes out. Otherwise, we go with what we got. Okay, so enjoy the music as we continue to descend into Pago through 22,000 feet. Remember, transition is 13,000, so we'll pass 18. You'll hear the guy call it. We're going to keep going. Okay, and while we're descending, let's go ahead. See if I can get this a little easier to read. Okay. All right, so we got that entered, and I think it was 46. Yeah. Again, it's 110.346. See, we're starting to get a little low again. I do want to get outside.
$18,000 feet.
Okay, we made our 16,000 foot mark at Big X, which was actually supposed to, well, it's already passed. So now we're heading for 5,039. still... Alright, so we're about to hit decel. Let me just do a check here. Alright, we've got an updated weather. Still variable winds, folks. 12 miles of visibility. And 25 degrees, 2980. Let's go ahead and dial that up. I'm just bringing it up to make it easier to read on these old eyes. Okay, so at 13,000 we can now set in for the transition, which is right now. Transition altitude. Okay, so let's get those seatbelts on. Oh, they never came off. Sorry, folks. Continuous. And okay, so altimeters are set. Altitude set for approach. Initial frequencies are in. V card. Let's do that real quick here. Why don't we? Initialize to our approach ref. Waiting on the printout. Okay, we're looking at VREF of 145. What flap setting are we at here? 30. All right, so we'll do 30 by 145. Put that here. VAP is for approach. Oh, I lost my speeds. Where'd they go? 150. Now, we're going to be requiring 5,700 feet of runway. So... hopefully we can make Charlie. If not, we may back taxi or just go up to the end. But there you go, folks. That is our arrival. And I'm just going to plug it in here.
10,000 feet.
And there's 10,000 for the landing lights. Speed's good. Okay. Lights on. Okay, and as you can see now, we have the blank diamonds letting us know the ILS and glide slope are both active. We're 18.5 miles out. So we're going to begin slowing to 210. I've got the speed brakes out. And what I'm going to do over here. Okay, we are going to go ahead and stop that. And okay, we'll get these armed. Landing gear will go down when the engine starts or continuous, and we're good. Okay. All right, so let me see where our speed is. Oh, we're slow. Okay, let's go ahead and arm up approach. Localizer is grabbed. There's the island, folks, I think, coming into, it's been a while, so we are on approach now, 13 miles out. And again, remember from our brief, BLUJA is 2,300 feet or on the glide slope. And I believe that's our runway ahead of us. I want to make sure I see it before I take over. Okay. Go ahead and knock us down a few more. We're on glide slope. At 2,300 feet, we will bring the landing gear down. Let's dial in. Real quick review, if I'm able. Missed approach is 3,000. Okay. All right, so finally, let's get the speed brakes armed. They are. Let's see, minimum set flaps are setting to 10. Auto brakes are set to 3. Landing gear holding at the moment. For now, let's set up for the auto land. What the heck? Okay.
2,500.
Ouch. I'm glad I wasn't relying on that being the runway, because I would have been wrong. And let's go ahead, gear down.
Gear down.
All right, we're slowing to our approach speed. Now I see the runway.
1,000.
Land 3 is armed. Flaps full.
Five hundred. 400.
Okay, now it's doing that because we have a ridge ahead of us. Okay.
300. 200.
It's our plane.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Hush.
$80 knots.
Idle reverse. Outer reverse. All right, we made Charlie. That's cool. And what did we make? Ooh, a little hard landing there, but not too bad. And yes, I was a bad pilot. I forgot to again announce my intentions here. We'll clear up. All right. We're off the runway here, so let's do a quick after takeoff or after landing. Okay. All right, landing, roll, speed brakes. We got to bring those guys down if they're not already. They are not. Flaps up. Okay, up to the top panel. Probe heats off. Stave trim to 4, APU. And weather radar off. And here we go, folks. Go ahead and put our engines to off. All right, and we don't have any weather radar. I don't think that works on this plane. Nope, but we can dial this back. All right, now I'm going to have to get out of the plane here because I'm not familiar with how X-Plane has this set up. I'm glad I looked. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and turn off our taxi lights. What I'm going to do is, I have no idea what I'm going to do here, folks. I'm not even going to speculate. Okay, we're going to call that into blocks. Wow. Okay, I don't know if I'm even close to being right here, folks. All right, so APU bleed can go on. Generators for the APU are now on the bus. Fasten seatbelts off. And start levers. Cut off. Okay, transponder can now go to standby. Exterior lights all off. Well, yes and no. Fuel pumps all but one off. Window heaters, anti-ice off. Electric pumps off. And flight directors off. Auto brake is off, and the APU and bleeds are all on. All right, folks, welcome to Pago. We're just gonna make sure off as needed. And 3 steps here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, and boom, boom. All right. Okay, so we are now on the ground power. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the APU down. Folks, we are here in Pago, the Americas Samoas. We thank you for flying with Mike. It's been a interesting flight to say the least, but we're just filing the PIREP right now and verifying it filed. One more page. Love when it takes its time, and we are pending. All right, so we hope you enjoyed the flight, folks. Like I said, we'll have this up on YouTube eventually. Not sure when. Wow, 6 centers. Can't believe they're really. Please tell me it's good. For a second there, I thought we were going to have Oceanics here in PosCon. It's ridiculous. Well, that's just me, by the way, folks. I know some of you out there go, oh no, we got to have that. No, you don't. Okay, so we are set to go. Y'all have a great day. We thank you for flying with Mike. If you like the broadcast, please click follow. The landing recorded at 616 feet a minute. And I'm the only one that guessed. So, well, it is what it is. We hope y'all fly with us in the future. By clicking follow, you'll get an email notification when we go live, letting you know where we're flying to. So, thanks for flying with Mike. God bless. Have a great day.